Once hailed as Hollywood's ultimate muscle icon and beloved as the Natty King, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson now finds himself at the center of a maelstrom of scandals that have severely damaged the once sterling reputation he painstakingly built over decades. The controversy erupted when popular podcaster and UFC commentator Joe Rogan publicly accused The Rock of using anabolic steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs for over 20 years, casting a shadow over the authenticity of his legendary physique. This serious allegation triggered law enforcement agencies and regulatory bodies to reopen investigations into a separate but related matter involving suspicious financial activities tied to charity funds raised for the Maui wildfire relief efforts, which are allegedly connected to The Rock's business ventures or associates. The fallout has been swift and brutal. Millions of once devoted fans have unfollowed him across various social media platforms. Major corporate endorsement deals that once seemed unshakable are rapidly dissolving, and the online sphere is saturated with harsh criticism, memes, and outright ridicule aimed at dismantling his carefully cultivated image. Detractors argue fervently, at 50 years old, The Rock's massive and chiseled physique is physiologically impossible to maintain naturally without the aid of steroids or other illicit substances. This narrative starkly contrasts with his former status as a global superstar commanding over 400 million followers worldwide, generating more than $800 million millionally from movies, endorsements, and business ventures, and headlining blockbuster film franchises such as Jumanji and Fast and Furious that collectively grossed over $10 box office. Instead of being celebrated as an inspirational figure who rose from modest beginnings to the pinnacle of fame and fitness, he is now widely perceived as a deceiver whose image was constructed on a foundation of dishonesty and chemical enhancement, marking one of the most dramatic and painful falls from grace in Hollywood history. Before achieving cinematic stardom, Johnson electrified WWE crowds with his charismatic persona and signature catchphrase, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" His transition from wrestling to acting was marked by incredible success as he became one of the highest-paid actors in the world, known for his relentless work ethic, discipline, and an authentic connection to fans through his social media posts that showcased intense workouts, strict nutrition regimens, and motivational messages. However, suspicions began to surface in earnest at the 2025 Venice Film Festival, where The Rock appeared noticeably leaner, yet paradoxically more muscular, igniting widespread speculation about steroid use. Despite his firm denials, fitness experts, such as Greg Doucette and Joe Rogan, publicly challenged his claims, referencing scientific studies that outline the natural limits of muscle gain, which are significantly lower than what Johnson's physique suggests. Critics have meticulously dissected his workout videos, exposing inconsistencies and anomalies that further fueled doubts about the legitimacy of his training methods. Many have pointed out that his extraordinary muscle mass and definition defy the natural biological constraints typically observed in men over 50 years old, suggesting a reliance on artificial enhancement. This mounting body of evidence has caused a profound erosion of public trust and admiration, signaling a steep and heartbreaking decline for one of Hollywood's most iconic and beloved figures, whose legacy now hangs in a precarious balance as fans and industry insiders alike grapple with the implications of these revelations. Greg Doucette rapidly emerged as the coalition's leading voice, dissecting The Rock's dramatic physical transformation with sharp, mocking commentary. The Rock has turned into a pebble. He's wilted. He's withered. I believe I have more muscle than The Rock now, and I'm just a 5'6" guy. Beneath the sarcasm, Doucette underscored a crucial observation. Dwayne Johnson's loss of 50 to 60 pounds, approximately 27 kilograms, of muscle in such a brief period is a classic indication of someone ceasing steroid use. We've seen other superstars handle similar situations. Remember Batista? He appears considerably smaller now. And why do you think that is? Because he's no longer abusing performance-enhancing drugs. If you all think The Rock was natural, explain how he lost all his muscles in just a few months. Doucette argued that such a massive, rapid muscle loss couldn't be chalked up to role preparation or aging. If Johnson were genuinely natural, Doucette concluded, sustaining such massive muscle mass at age 50 would be impossible, let alone losing nearly 30 kilograms of muscle in a matter of months. Are you insane? The only way you lose that much muscle that fast is if you stop abusing steroids. For Doucette, this sharp decline was a silent admission louder than any verbal statement. My only hope is that The Rock comes out and explains exactly what's going on. Hey guys, you see how I lost all my muscle? I mean, he's not Mike O'Hearn. And because his right circumflex artery was being blocked, he had to make a change. As The Rock, please don't do what I'm doing. Doucette was not alone in his skepticism. Joe Rogan, known for his bluntness, also jumped in, dismissing The Rock's past claim of trying steroids once at age 18 as crazy talk. Rogan explained, "You can't use once at 18 and keep building muscle until you're 50. To illustrate his point, he contrasted Johnson's early WWE physique, muscular, healthy, but within normal limits, with his extraordinary, nearly unbelievable, middle-aged body. Rogan concluded flatly, "That's impossible." In response to the growing criticism, Dwayne Johnson finally broke his silence, explaining that his muscle loss was a deliberate choice to slim down for the role of Mark Kerr, a gritty MMA fighter infamous for heavy steroid use. Johnson insisted this transformation was an artistic sacrifice, a committed immersion into the character, not a sign of stopping banned substances. "I had to set aside my ego and my familiar physique to embody the role," he said in an interview, framing it as purely about acting. However, Greg Doucette quickly dismissed this defense with biting sarcasm. Did he really need to lose 60 pounds of muscle to play a steroid-pumped fighter? Is he acting or running from the truth? To Doucette, this wasn't merely role preparation, but a staged cover-up for the reality that a superhuman physique at 50 simply couldn't be natural. He quipped, "If that's artistic sacrifice, it sure looks like the biological symptoms of stopping a steroid cycle." Joe Rogan challenged The Rock's explanations about his physique and alleged drug use with a sharp, probing tone, asking pointedly, if he's truly clean, why hasn't he released his blood test results? His question was more than rhetorical. It was a direct call for transparency in an industry riddled with secrecy, speculation, and often carefully managed public images. Rogan emphasized the stark and almost unnatural difference between Johnson's muscular WWE days and his recent superhuman build, arguing that doesn't happen naturally, especially not at his age, highlighting the physiological improbabilities involved. He underscored the biological realities of aging where muscle mass and recovery typically decline, making Johnson's drastic physical transformation all the more suspicious and difficult to explain through conventional training and nutrition alone. Rogan dismissed Johnson's claim that movie roles required such changes as a convenient excuse, suggesting it was a strategic dodge designed to avoid admitting to any chemical enhancement. Supporting this stance, American Thor added that Johnson's physique was undeniable proof of steroid use, accusing him of deceiving millions by selling the illusion that such extraordinary results could come solely from training and diet, thus perpetuating a misleading narrative. The story painted by Johnson, according to Thor, was not just misleading but fundamentally dishonest, manipulating fans and aspiring athletes alike who look up to him as a role model. Derek from More Plates, More Dates, a highly respected voice in the fitness and bodybuilding community, contributed his detailed analysis by suggesting that hormone treatments like TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, or anabolic steroids, were likely involved, pointing to Johnson's rapid physical decline, observed in Venice as a telling symptom of a severe steroid crash, a condition that often occurs when the body reacts. Despite these compelling claims, Johnson maintained his stance by blaming age and the physical demands of his film roles, vehemently asserting that he never used performance-enhancing drugs, hoping to preserve his image as a natural athlete and role model. However, critics like Chael Sonnen drew sharp comparisons, likening him to the Hollywood Liver King, a figure notorious for deception regarding his health and fitness regimen, thereby highlighting the perceived dishonesty embedded in Johnson's carefully crafted public image. Meanwhile, Greg Doucette, an American Thor, vocally called for honesty about Johnson's methods, arguing that transparency would not only restore some of his credibility, but also set a better example for fans and athletes who look up to him and seek guidance in their own fitness journey. This growing skepticism seriously damaged Johnson's reputation, transforming him from a widely respected figure into someone associated with concealment, betrayal, and mistrust. The situation was further exacerbated as past controversies, including the Maui fund scandal, a financial mismanagement issue that had already cast shadows over his public persona, resurfaced, deepening doubts about his transparency, honesty, and integrity. Taken together, these allegations and controversies painted a complex and multifaceted picture of a celebrity whose public persona was increasingly at odds with the suspicions swirling around his private practices, stirring widespread debate about the immense pressures and ethical dilemmas faced by athletes and entertainers striving to maintain peak physical condition while living in the relentless spotlight. The Maui wildfire scandal of August 2023 severely damaged Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's People's Champion image, cultivated over decades through charisma, philanthropy, and relatability. The fires devastated the island, destroying homes, displacing families, and causing tragic loss of life, leaving the community in urgent need of aid. In response, Johnson and Oprah Winfrey launched the People's Fund of Maui, each pledging $5 million and urging the public to contribute $1,200 monthly, a figure that sparked widespread debate and criticism. While Johnson's intentions appeared compassionate on the surface, the request for ongoing monthly donations from financially struggling individuals was widely perceived as unrealistic, insensitive, and disconnected from the economic realities faced by many affected residents. Critics argued that Johnson, with his vast personal fortune and access to significant resources, could have shouldered the relief costs more substantially, rather than placing additional burdens on an already vulnerable population. Social media quickly erupted with accusations of tone deafness, exploitation, and performative philanthropy, with many users highlighting the disparity between Johnson's public persona as a champion of the people and the practical implications of his fundraising strategy. Public frustration was further inflamed by a lack of transparency about how the funds would be managed, allocated, and audited, raising suspicions about the true intentions behind the campaign, and whether Johnson and Winfrey were leveraging the crisis more for image protection than genuine aid. This financial opacity and perceived evasion echoed Johnson's previous steroid scandal, which had similarly caused damage to his reputation due to a lack of openness and accountability. The overlapping controversies compounded public distrust, prompting critics to draw parallels between Johnson and other celebrities who have failed to live up to their carefully constructed public images, undermining the authenticity of celebrity activism. The scandal ignited broader debates about the nature of celebrity philanthropy, whether it genuinely serves affected communities or primarily functions as a tool to preserve celebrity status and deflect criticism, often at the expense of ordinary people struggling to cope with disaster aftermath. Together, these events reveal a stark disconnect between Johnson's heroic public image and the complex realities behind the scenes. While allegations of steroid use questioned his personal integrity, the Maui Fund controversy exposed deeper social inequalities and unfair expectations placed on citizens to resolve crises that should be addressed by those with greater means and governmental support. The entire saga underscores the critical need for honesty, transparency, and ethical responsibility in celebrity-led initiatives to maintain public trust and effectiveness. It emphasizes that celebrity influence carries not only power, but also profound obligations of empathy, inclusiveness, and accountability. Asking financially struggling people to fund disaster relief raises profound questions about the authenticity of celebrity goodwill, whether it reflects genuine compassion or serves as a strategic move to safeguard reputations and deflect scrutiny. Well, in the end, the Maui wildfire scandal stands as a cautionary tale about the complexities and pitfalls of celebrity activism, reminding us that meaningful efforts to aid communities in crisis require not only financial resources, but also transparency, respect for affected populations, and a sincere ethical commitment that transcends image matter. This serves as a wake-up call for fans. Never blindly trust images or assume public figures are flawless. While many admire The Rock's work ethic and charisma, it's important not to tie hopes too tightly to a crafted persona that may not reflect reality. Idols have flaws, vulnerabilities, and sometimes dishonesty that complicate their image. Recognizing this helps fans appreciate genuine qualities without devastation when the facade cracks. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson built his career as a people's hero, strong and reliable. But recent steroid allegations and the Maui fund controversy have damaged that image. This highlights the gap between public persona and true self for many celebrities. While fans may forgive mistakes, deliberate deception is harder to excuse. The question remains if The Rock can rebuild trust, or if this breach will stain his legacy.